Since we're talking about capturing network packets, we should really talk about network architecture. I want to take a look at two particular network designs, and these are really simplistic, but they're a pretty common way of looking at the way your network may be put together. On the right hand side is really the most common way today, and that's where you have a switch that is connecting all of your systems. This could even be like a wireless access point, which behaves in a way that is similar to a switch. In a switched network environment, as you can see on the right hand side, we have computer A or laptop A trying to communicate with laptop B. So we've got laptop A sending in a message to the switch in order to get to laptop B, and then the switch directs the traffic only to laptop B, which is kind of the way you would expect it to be. Except that until we had the capability to build switches in a cost effective manner, what we were left with was a hub. If I were to go from laptop A here and I wanted to send a message to laptop B, what the hub would do would be to send it out every interface that it had. Not only would B get it, but C would get it as well. And frankly, everybody else who was connected to the hub, in this case, I've got a very limited network diagram with only 3 systems. If I were to have a larger network, what would happen would be the hub would send it absolutely everywhere. So you can see that a switched environment is better in the sense that only the recipient gets the traffic that is meant to go to that particular recipient. It's not just sent everywhere on the network. So, what does this mean when we're talking about packet captures? If I am capturing packets on the network, there's a good chance that I want to see more than just the messages that are destined for me. I probably want to see everything on the network. So, there's a couple of things that I can do. What I can do is I can take this switch and I can set a port span so that, for example, C gets all of the traffic that is coming into the switch. That's one way of doing it. I could also do something that we're going to talk about next, which is just spoofing all of the addresses so that everything on the network actually comes to me regardless. And then I just take the switch out of the situation. I may not actually have the right to make the changes to the switch that we're talking about here, because setting up a port span so that all traffic goes to you is something that requires A, access to the switch, and B, administrative access to the switch. I would need to be a particular type of user, a network administrator, network engineer, somebody like that, in order to go in and get that configured, or I would have to know that person. Of course, ideally, I would know that person anyway, because I really need permissions in order to do this type of activity, this packet capture. The other problem that we've got is lower end switches like home switches don't really have the capability to do things like port spanning. And so what we end up having to do is something like spoofing that we will get into coming up in a subsequent lesson.